Check, check. Man, do you not hate when technology doesn't work for you? Thank you, Joanne. Thank you for telling me there's no sound. I should have seen it. I was a little late today, so my apologies. I didn't get all the sound checks and things like that set aside. Anyways, what I was saying while I was muted was that this is the Rocket Mortgage, or this is the Rocket Classic. It is going to be known as the Rocket Mortgage Classic throughout all of the tools you're going to see. Don't worry, it's the same tournament. Rocket Mortgage Classic was the brand for the last 4 years, 5 years, something like that. So if you hear Rocket Mortgage slip out of my mouth, that is why. It's just a rebranding. It's under the same umbrella. I don't know why they did it, but it is what it is. Now, I wanted to say this is a live stream. So obviously, Joanne told me there was no sound. So I saw that in my chat. As I was saying, the reason that I noticed it was I was basically telling all of you, this is a live stream, so I will be interacting with my chat. I feel like that provides kind of the best type of video because there's some kind of interaction where if there are questions, I get to answer them. And if I'm talking about something and people have questions because of it, or people want to correct me, whatever it may be, we have that opportunity. And then also I like to build lineups for everybody at the end of the stream. So that's what I'll be doing. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the Rocket Classic. This won't be a 2.5 hour, 3 hour stream. We're going to breeze through this because it is a lesser event. It's not to say that I'm not going to take the same type of approach, but between the PGA Championship and the US Open, there wasn't much of a reprieve. And I think I hit a ceiling when it comes to just being exhausted. So we're going to trim up a lot of these streams moving forward. I kind of want all these like lesser known events. This one, the John Deere Classic, the 3M Open, the Wyndham Championship, all of those events in the near future to be a little bit more streamlined, a little bit quicker. So I want to get straight to the point. I'm basically going to be telling you guys how to use the tools on SweetSpotDFS.com. I have my own website where you can find a lot of the tools. Again, I'm going to showcase those tools in these videos. And then I'm not going to spend too much time building lineups at the end. I don't know if I'm going to do the 3-minute 10 lineup type of thing. I might build 3 or 5 lineups for everybody and just try to cruise through just to give myself a little bit more time to work on other things. I do have an update to show you guys, so I'll do that right now. Basically, what you see on the screen is a tool. Most people have seen this tool, but the keen-eyed people that have been here will see something brand new. And it's this pane over here on the left side. Now, I don't have buttons assigned to these just yet, but this is where we're going to see the new filters. And I started working on this, and I almost want to create a video just to show you how time consuming it is to create all these new little gadgets on the tools. But essentially what I wanted to do was make filtering throughout all of these tools easier. So I am working behind the scenes to make that happen and to add those stats. And I'll explain what these are once I create them. Obviously, the eraser here is to clear whatever filters you have. I'll have a fantasy stats tool or filter here, a tournament stats filter here, and a grass stats filter here. As we go throughout the rest of this year, I'm going to be adding a little bit more and more to this. I want your guys' input on this. Are there other filters we want to be adding? That will go throughout the year. And then hopefully, you know, I mean, I wish I would have got a lot of this stuff done before major year happened. But yeah, like I was saying in the beginning, everything takes time. Life takes time. There are other things that, you know, just take a little bit more priority. But I am so excited for doing this because on the back end, which you guys can't see, this is my test page. It looks good. it looks really good. And yeah, so I'm excited for it. I wanted to show you guys. That's kind of what I was working on last week. And we'll continue to work through and add more filters. And I think there's a new tool that I want to add that will be a little bit easier, where you'll be able to load this week's field, or you can look at historic fields or historic data. And yeah, maybe I can provide that in each of these tools, but more on that later, more on that, you know, throughout the year. But I did want to provide that really quick. Now, one thing I want to say to everybody also is I will always have the same type of giveaways, you know, for the foreseeable future. The one that you see on the screen, there's a weekly and a monthly giveaway I do every single, well, I do the weekly giveaway every single week, and I do the monthly giveaway every single month. There's also kind of I always forget to mention this, but if the videos, any of my live videos get to 25 likes, I will give away 5 YouTube memberships. Because if you didn't know, if you're a member on this YouTube channel, you get perks. And one of those perks is a live stream Wednesday night. So I only stream to members only. And that's where I digest all of the material that I've listened to, I've watched, I've read, whatever, throughout the whole week, and also with my own analysis. Who are my final plays? And also I kind of dig into the bucket system a little bit more and create combo buckets of golfers to choose from. It's a little bit more in-depth, and definitely I think worth the money to become a YouTube member. But again, if these videos can get to 25 likes, I just give away 5 free memberships. So if you want to become a YouTube member, hit the like button. So all of this, all the giveaways that I do, the YouTube memberships that I give away, it's all based on your, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, performance and priority are in my head, and I don't know why, but it definitely starts participation. There we go. It all depends on your guys' participation. So be subscribed to the channel, comment, like the videos, all that stuff. Helps the channel out, and I will help you in return of helping me out. Easy as that. Also, there's another giveaway, which is part of the website, SweetSpotDFS.com. I call it the SweetSpotDFS.com giveaway. When this channel reaches 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to give away $1,000 worth of giveaways, 2 of them being cash giveaways. So if SweetSpotDFS.com isn't your cup of tea, so be it. You still have the opportunity to win 2 $100 cash giveaways. And I'm going to make this a first come, first serve. So the first name I draw will get to choose. And I will be reaching out to you guys through email once this giveaway happens, and I will give most of you guys plenty of forewarning before I actually do this giveaway. Just obviously be a subscriber to the channel, watch the videos that I post. I will definitely be like, hey, we're getting closer, but you can also see over on the left side how close we are getting to our goals. And obviously just watch to see how many subscribers are on this channel. So these giveaways I'm doing, I'm doing this giveaway until we reach the goal of 1,000 subscribers. And then those weekly and monthly giveaways, they might turn into other things, but for the time being, they will stay the same. And speaking of giveaways, let's just go ahead, run our weekly giveaway that we have. And there are 22 total entries. Basically, these were here during the live stream. I call them roll calls. I try to do them every hour. There'll probably only be 1 roll call in this video. There might be 2. We shall see how long this goes. But then you can obviously get additional entries into the giveaway. Here, I'm just going to show you guys because I don't see any of you guys doing this. But basically, what'll happen is I kind of look at this right here. I look at the participation. Who is commenting on my videos? Lombardi Lee commented on my videos. Dave Dean commented on my videos. And then Nathan Johnson and Denny Barry kind of did the thing that most people don't see. They said, let's hit the sweet spot. That is right in here. Giveaway details. Be subscribed. Comment, let's hit the sweet spot below. And you get an additional entry for doing that. So that's always been there for people who pay attention. And I try to always tell people, hey, you can get an additional entry and to get to the giveaway. And that's after. Don't post it here in the live stream. That's after this goes live and it's on replay. So easy way to get an additional entry, just like Denny and Nathan did. So congrats to those guys for checking that out. Let's run this giveaway. AJ Love wins $5 weekly giveaway. And obviously all these entries will go towards the monthly giveaway. So congrats, AJ. I know your information. I will send you the $5. Okay. We're done with giveaways. Done with all of the housekeeping items. Let's get straight into the... Well, you know what? Let me read the chat. I'll do this after every segment. Why can't I scroll up? Dave Dean, what's going on? AJ Love, nice to see you. Wheels up. How are you? Evening to you as well. AJ says, and the losing streak continues. Yeah, dude. Last week was a very bad week for me. As a remote worker, yes. What's going on, Lombardi Lee? Nice to see you. John Bizzle, nice to see you as well. All right, let's move on. Course and tournament information. And like I said early on, you can check out these tools at SweetSpotDFS.com. This is the golf course stats. It basically just gives you all the data points that you can use for researching. What are those data points? Well, turf grass being the most important one. All this data is validated through the tournament fact sheets on the gcsaa.org website. If you have no idea what that is, just scroll down on the page. You don't even have to be a member for this, but you can click right here, and that will bring you to the tournament fact sheets, which work in combination with the PGA Tour to set up the tournament to PGA Tour standards. That's what the tournament fact sheets are. So, like I said, the golf course stats, these are just stats that the GCSAA provides. You have a 7,300 yard golf course that is a par 72. The architect is Donald Ross. And the one thing to know about this golf course, the local knowledge is green slope from back to front. So if you miss the green long, your chip might be a little bit more challenging than if you were to miss the green short, because it will be going downhill. And if you miss on either side of the green, well, your chips will go right to left most likely, or not so much right to left. They will just curve down the hill. Depends where you miss it is where it will curve to. So I would say this. So the one thing I had in my head is that just playing smart. Like if Scotty Scheffler was here, you know, he'd probably be $15,000 on DraftKings, but still this golf course would suit him because he rarely misses long. Rarely. He plays pretty smart. And I think more methodical, maybe even cerebral golfers, they will do better at this golf course versus more aggressive golfers. Now, usually the scores are pretty low. If we were to take a look at results, you had -18 win last year, -24, -26 won in 2023, 2022. What's interesting is Cam Davis won twice at this tournament, shooting 18 under. So if this is one of those events where it gets better, or if it gets lower than 18 under, probably don't play Cam Davis. Bryson won at 23 under in 2020. That was when he turned into the Hulk, if you remember. Nate Lashley ran away with this in 2019. He won by 6. And I think he was a Monday qualifier for that tournament. So that obviously could happen this week. We shall see. I mean, who was it? I can't remember who just withdrew, but someone just withdrew and Joseph Bramlett took his place. I think it was Tony Finau. I think Tony Finau just withdrew and Joseph Bramlett took his place. No idea if DraftKings is going to put Joseph Bramlett in their salary pool. You're not going to find him on any of the cheat sheets or anything like that I provide, which I forgot to mention early on, but I'll get there. So yeah, maybe it's Joseph Bramlett's week. If you're a betting person, maybe you go ahead and put your money on that on Joseph Bramlett. And it's a golf course that would actually suit him because it tends to favor bombers more so than any other golfer. But it's not to say you have to be a bomber. You can be, like I said, you can be an accuracy guy. Like in 2023, Ricky, Morikawa, and Hadwin. They're not known for being bombers. They're known for, I mean, not so much Ricky, but you know, they're known for being more of an accurate type of golfer. Peter Quest is on there. I forgot about that guy. All right. So anyways, here at SweetSpotDFS.com, if you go under fantasy tools and go to golf course stats, you can find this tool. Again, they're just data points to provide you for researching. What you'll see here are the hole by hole par, yardage, and shot shape preferences, not requirements. These are just preferences to basically try to score low. Like I say right here, it indicates the preferred shot shape. They just offer the best general scoring opportunities for each hole. I do have a little summary over here on off the tee shot shapes and approach shot shapes. You don't really need to shape the ball around this golf course. I will say this: a lot of people, because Bryson won this in 2020, will and you know, you see a lot of bombers on the top of the leaderboard. Will say this is a bombers heavy type of golf course, and it's not that it isn't true. The thing about this golf course, I'll always remember this because I think it was 2019 when Dustin Johnson was the favorite by like a landslide. His driver wasn't straight. Believe it or not, these holes have enough trees lined between them where hitting it offline is problematic. And there is a part of this golf course that you do need to be strategic off the tee. It's not just bombs away. You do have to position the golf ball in certain spots of the hole. It's not super important. You just got to stay away from the trees. You got to stay away from the trouble. And so if you can do that, if you can hit the ball straight-ish, or if these, I shouldn't say you, but these PGA Tour players, if they can hit it straight-ish, that'll offer the best scoring opportunities. So yes, I still would favor bombers, but it's not going to be like just a blind trust that only bombers are going to do well at this golf course. You certainly can take accuracy guys. And again, the whole thought process for me is cerebral golfers, strategic golfers that plot their way around a golf course. Those are going to be my favorite golfers to play this week, including those that are bombers that can do the same thing. Like Chris Goddard would be a perfect example to me of a golfer to choose. I don't even know if he's in the field, but if he is, seems like a good choice. One thing I will note, I did say at the RBC Canadian Open that Matt McCarty seems like a good course fit for that golf course. I don't think he's a good course fit for this golf course, and I hate saying that because I just followed Byron, and Byron is big on Matt McCarty this week. I don't think this is a Matt McCarty golf course. The greens aren't very large. There still is emphasis on hitting the ball straight. That's not one of his strengths. So I'm not saying he's gonna, you know, just be terrible, but whereas I felt comfortable and confident in him at the RBC Canadian Open, I do not so much feel comfortable and confident in him at this golf course. Still a good play, don't get me wrong, a true GPP play in my opinion. Just that kind of wraps up my synopsis of this golf course and what I'm looking for as a golfer, or golfers to put in my lineup. So anyways, I like to go over tournament information too. You have a full field event this week. It is 156 golfers in the field. Currently, I only have 155, and this is where I can remind you guys, I do have a cheat sheet available for you. If you go to the website and you go to fantasy tools, there's a little drop down for fantasy tools, and you click on cheat sheet, it'll bring you to this page. This is the cheat sheet. If you scroll down and you click here off of this cheat sheet, it'll bring you to the cheat sheet I provide everybody on Google Sheets. So you don't even need a Google account for this. You can actually just go check it out. And basically the data points that I just provided you, at least for turf grass, you can find here on the cheat sheet. It is bent grass and it is POA. Again, if I go to the golf course stats, you will see tees are bent in POA, the fairways are bent in POA, the rough is actually a Kentucky bluegrass, but the greens are bent in POA. And the rule of thumb is whenever there's POA on the golf course, usually use that as your primary grass because it is an invasive weed and it will overrun whatever other grass that's on the course. Now, superintendents and golf course crews, or I guess that's what I'd call them, maintenance workers, golf course maintenance workers, they can mitigate the POA by putting different types of sprays on it. I don't know. We just won't know. Can't remember. Oh man, there was a video by the superintendent way back either in 2019 or 2020. He gave a breakdown of the percentage. I think he said 70% of the course is POA and 30% is bent. I could just be making that up off the top of my head, but I know there was a video out there. And again, who knows what it's like right now? That was like 5 years ago, 6 years ago that he made that video. So I have no idea. But the rule of thumb is you play POA if POA is on the course, unless like at the Travelers, many of the tour pros said it plays like bent grass. So I would, do the due diligence of reading what the stats are and also listening to what, PGA Tour pros would say, or even golf course superintendents or tournament coordinators, what they say about the grass. So again, 156 golfers in the field, top 65 and ties make the cut. We went through winning scores. A lot of those things you cannot research currently on SweetSpotDFS.com, but soon in the future. I just thought of winning score as a filter and also cut score as a filter. I'll have to remember those things. But those are good things to add to the website. Okay. I'm not going to talk anymore about the golf course and tournament information. Like I said, I kind of want to just go through this somewhat fast. And I'm just going to leave it at that. That's pretty much the general information we need, but I will check out the chat to see who all is participating there. I guess Hovland and Spieth were playing whack-a-mole. Yeah, dude. Spieth was in one of my best lineups, and he just withdrew after like 6 holes or something like that, 11 or whatever. So yeah, it like I was in the money with my Spieth lineup all the way into Sunday, believe it or not. That's how good my lineup was. It had Keegan in it. I think it went like Scotty, Keegan, Spieth. What's 6K golfer? I had Austin Eckroat in that lineup, and the other low 6K golfer that ended up being good. It was so good, and then Jordan Spieth had to go ruin it for me. Oh, it was terrible. Wheels Up goes, I challenge you to integrate 2 to 3 players you dislike but expect a top 20 finish from your model. This differs from our usual approach of using favored players and could reveal unique lineup values. Okay. Yeah, we can mess around with that a little bit later. Ryan says, what's up? What's up, man? Nate Woods, going for the sweet spot. I have hit big thanks to your formula, Eric. I am a long-term follower. Just getting back. Underdog Nate from Detroit. That's awesome, man. What did you What did you hit big? I'm very curious. Let us know. AJ goes, my best score at this course today on PS5 was +3. Yeah, Ryan Henson's been trying to get me to get on PGA 2K25. I haven't touched that since March, which is sad. But fun game nonetheless. All right, let's move into pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. Again, you can find this tool on SweetSpotDFS.com by going under Fantasy Tools to Past Salary Builds. I like to start here. This kind of gives us an overall theme or an overall build that we can follow, and we can apply filters to narrow down kind of what this tournament on DraftKings, or the salaries on DraftKings, we can filter down by what they provided this week for us. Jeez. Words, they're difficult to say sometimes. Now, without any filters, I have 1,030. Wow, you can't even see it. 1,031 lineups that I keep track of. And those lineups are the GPP winning lineup, optimal lineup and SweetSpot optimal. So that total number that I just showed you accounts for those 3 lineups. Now I will say this, I didn't start recording GPP winners until like 2018, 2019. So there are some lineups, or not even that, maybe it was 2020. There are some lineups in 2017, 2018, 2019 that only have optimal lineup and SweetSpot optimal. I wouldn't have a GPP winner, but not that that really matters. I just wanted to throw that out there because I don't think I have yet, but I want you guys to know. What I would do is, first of all, if I go to the cheat sheet, I take a look at the salaries. I mean, we've got Morikawa, Bradley, and Cantlay as our 10K golfers. So we have 3 10K golfers. No one is more expensive than 10,900. So if I go back to the tool, the first thing we can do is, well, here's the thing. We can go into filters used, and for max salary, which is just the most expensive golfer in the lineup, we can change this to be somewhere between 10,500 and 11,004, or 10,007 to 11,002. That's probably smarter. I'm not going to do that right now. I just wanted to throw that out there because I was talking about it. The first thing we can actually do is go into the little tournament filter here. That's all this is a little drop down, and put in Rocket. And then you'll see Rocket Mortgage Classic. And now we can see what all lineups for the Rocket Mortgage Classic, for how long I have recorded lineups for. And this goes back to 2019. So since the inception of the tournament. Since the beginning, the most common lineup build, there's 2 of them. One is a 10-9-8-8-7-6. The other one is a 9-9-9-7-7-7, which is remarkable. That is crazy. If you're new to the channel, before I built the website, I was showing you guys on spreadsheets that 10-9-8-7-7-6 is the best place to start building your lineups. And that's just my fast way of saying, put a 10K golfer in your lineup, a 9K, an 8K, 2 7s, and a 6. It's just the most common lineup build you will see either in the optimal lineup or the GPP winning lineup or the SweetSpot optimal. And again, you can actually use the filters up here. That's the one thing I should have noted is you can drill down on each one of these. And you'll see if GPP winner 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6, 11% of your GPP winner winning lineups are that they follow that. Your optimal lineup, you can also do the same thing. 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6. There's 26 records. Close behind is a 10, 9, 3 7s and a 6. And very close behind that too is a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 6, and then a 10, 8, 8, 7, 7, 6. So those are your most common optimal lineup builds. And then SweetSpot optimal, 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6. Now SweetSpot optimal, just for you guys to know, it is any lineup that uses at least $49,600 of the salary and above. That is the best scoring lineup following those rules. If I can't find one that's 49,600 and above, I will then find the next closest one. So you will find some that 49.5, 49.4, 49.2. Basically, I want to give you the most realistic optimal lineup because, oh my God, all the top end guys now are talking about it's so stupid to chase the optimal lineup. Stop. You know, if you're trying to chase the optimal, you have to leave $3,000 on the table. That's not what I'm trying to do here on this channel. I am trying to build the perfect lineup that follows the constraints that I put forth. And the biggest one to me is not to leave a lot of money on the table. Use up $49,600 of the salary and above. This will limit the amount of lineups you can actually build because the more money you leave on the table, the more combinations of lineups you can actually build. I want to limit it because I want, again, there's a reason that there is a ball and target as my logo, as the logo of SweetSpotDFS.com. It is about narrowing your sights, aiming for the smallest point of a target and trying to hit the bullseye, essentially. That's what SweetSpotDFS.com is all, or SweetSpotDFS is all about. So again, $49,600 of the salary and above is what I'm most interested in doing. But I still like to get the data from all of the other pieces of information that I can. So even if there is an optimal lineup, so if I put in the Rocket Mortgage Classic, again, there's this lineup here, 999 777. Well, you can drill down on this lineup just to see where you find it. And it is the Rocket Mortgage Classic of 2021. The Sweet Spot Optimal, the GPP winning lineup, and the Optimal lineup all had those golfers in it. And you didn't leave a lot of money on the table. You only left $200 on the table. Max salary was $9,800. The cheapest golfer in that lineup was $7,100. Now, if you want to see who those golfers were, there's another tool I actually provide, and it's called the Pass Optimal and GPP winners. So if you look under the fancy tools, you just go to Pass Optimals. If you type in the Rocket Mortgage Classic, now we obviously were given some data points there to look at, right? It is the Rocket Mortgage Classic of 2021, and it's all three of those lineups. So if I go back to this tool, let's just go ahead and type in the optimal lineup for 2021. And we can sort. That's a wonderful thing. All these tools you can actually use. You can sort with them, and you will find the golfers that made up that optimal lineup, or the GPP winning lineup, or the Sweet Spot Optimal. And it was $9,800 Joaquin Niemann, $9,300 Sung Jae, $9,200 Bubba, $7,200. I mean, this is Cam Davis when Cam Davis won. And it was $7,271. Now, that doesn't paint the whole picture. If you just click off of optimal lineup, it will load in the entire salary. So who was there in 2021? Well, Bryson was your most expensive golfer, $11,400. He missed the cut. He was your defending champion. How did he miss the cut? Patrick Reed was $10,900. He finished 32nd. Webb Simpson missed the cut. Hideki Matsuyama withdrew. Go figure. And then Will Zalatoris finished in dead last, pretty much. Dead last for those that made the cut. 77th place. So, again, you can do all of this research on your own by going to SweetSpotDFS.com and basically using the tools how I just used them. Now, again, I drilled down on a specific lineup, but what we could do, well, first of all, this looks at Rocket Mortgage Classic, and I probably would just keep it like this. We can just look at the GPP winners and look at the most common lineup build: 10-9-8, 8, 7, 6. Go figure. Then 10-10, 2 7s, 2 6s, 10-10, 8, 3 6s. Two lineups that start in the 9K range. 2 out of 6. So 33%, you start in the 9K range. And it's entirely up to you. And look at this. Each one of those lineups used up $50,000 of the salary. That's your GPP winning lineup. The lineup that won either the $5, I think basically from 2021 and on, I just used $5 as my GPP winning. That's where I pulled the GPP winner from. Prior to that would be your $1 GPP, the short game. So just throwing that out there as well. The other thing we can do is just remove all of these filters and go into more filters. And like I said, for max salary, since Collin Morikawa is $10,900, let's go ahead and just put in like 10.5. Let's give it like a $400 give or take. And again, 10,900, so 11,400. So we'll go 10.5 to 11.4 as the most expensive golfer in any of the lineups. And for the minimum salary, obviously 6,000 is our stone min that we can do. But I don't know if I'm just going to put in 6,400. I don't think I want to spend anything less than 64. And 79 won't be my highest low price guy. I'm thinking like 72. So 64 to 72. So now we've applied those filters. We can see what the most common salary build is. 10.98, 7.76. Yet again. And it's not almost double, but it's comfortably ahead of the next one, which is a 10.88, 7.76. Then a 10.98, 7.66, and those are your top three. So with that information, do as you will. I'm always going to follow the 10.98, 7.76 approach. But obviously, again, you guys can filter out however you want. I really like that this week. I think it's really easy to build lineups. I think my dummy lineup in DraftKings starts with Collin Morikawa, and the cheapest price guy in my lineup is $7,100. And it's a 10.98, 7.77. It's very easy to build a lineup like that. So I'll leave it up to you guys, however you want to build lineups, but it seems like, you know, well, one, I already showed you that you can start in the 9K range, 3 9s. I probably won't do that, but you certainly can. And in fact, how about this? I mean, I think it's irresponsible to not look at the salaries. I'm going to use the cheat sheet to do this. So you have 3 guys in the 10K range. I like Collin Morikawa a lot. I also like Patrick Cantlay a lot. I'm not going to sleep on Keegan Bradley like I did last week, but I'm not like running to play Keegan Bradley this week. I just, great that Tommy Fleetwood lost. That's what happened last week. Tommy Fleetwood lost the tournament. Keegan didn't win it. Obviously, Keegan won it by osmosis because Tommy lost it. And Keegan played well. Like, I'm not going to take that away from him. Keegan played well. That should have been Tommy's tournament. But, man, Tommy, what the hell? That is awful. Cantlay, I think he's a cerebral golfer. I think this golf course gives me vibes of Riviera, where they play the Genesis Invitational. And Cantlay plays really well at the Genesis. So I do like Cantlay this week. And if you were to start with Patrick Cantlay at 10,200, 10.98, 7.77 is really easy to do. And you could go 10 with a high 9, a high 8, and then just medium 7s and maybe a high 6. Like, that would be absolutely fine as well. I think my dummy lineup goes Collin Morikawa, Max Grazerman. Oh, Chris Gotterup is here. Okay. I think I have Rasmus Højgaard as my guy that I'm using. And then I go from there. But there are a lot of good lineups, like a lot of different lineups we can build. I'm really excited to actually get to lineup building. So are there 3 9s that I'd want to build around? Can we go that route? Ben Griffin, hottest golfer on tour outside of Scotty Scheffler. Yes, I don't mind going to Ben Griffin. Hideki Matsuyama, I'm not running to play Hideki. I don't like the fact that he just hasn't had any top 20s in the last 2 months. That's not okay. Oh no, he has. I'm sorry, 7 weeks ago he had one. Either way, what the hell? Hideki should be a better golfer than that. I don't know what the hell's going on with him. Harry Hall is the model darling. He finished 9th last week. I actively tried to ignore him. I'm probably going to have to go back to Harry Hall. Cam Young, I have no issue playing Cam Young. Siwoo Kim, he withdrew last week. You know what I think what happened with Siwoo Kim, and I kid you not, because he withdrew after round 1. I bet you he saw Scotty Scheffler get out to -8, and he was like, no, I'm not going to win this tournament, so I don't want to play it. If you've heard stories of Siwoo Kim, his caddy had to rein him in one time. Siwoo basically told him, he's like, all right, I'm going to withdraw. And his caddy goes, why? He goes, because I don't have a chance to win. And I think it was like round 3. He's like, you're only 2 shots behind the lead. What are you talking about? And Siwoo had no idea. He wasn't playing good enough, and he just thought, I don't know if he's like, I'm just not in the running. I don't want to play. I think that's what happened last week. I didn't hear anything about an injury, anything injury related. Maybe there is something injury related, but if there is not, it's undisclosed. I guarantee you he quit because he didn't have his game with him, and he just saw Scotty Scheffler and Austin Eckroat get out to the big lead that they were at. So, would I go back to Siwoo Kim? Yes, I would. And then Max Grazerman at 9,100, wonderful. And Luke Clanton, now he had his debut last year at this golf course. This is a wonderful golf course for rookies to start their tours at, and most rookies do that. This is probably a good golf course for him to play. I wasn't really on him last week. I wasn't on him at the US Open. He didn't play the US Open, did he? I think he did. I forget how. No, it was US Open, then Travelers. Yeah, he didn't play the US Open. He played the week before, and missed the cut. That was his debut, his professional debut at the Canadian Open. Okay. I don't mind going to Clanton this week. I'm just not going to run there. But if the question that I was trying to answer is, would I play 3 9Ks? just based off of the golfers here, yeah, I'd play 3 9Ks. I had no issue playing 3 9Ks. I mean, it doesn't really follow the whole sweet spot method, but because we've seen it before at this tournament, I guess I don't have an issue doing it. And then the 8Ks, there are enough good 8K golfers. Wyndham Clark, I think, is a wonderful play this week. He had his blow up at the US Open. I think he likes playing. Well, I think last week he didn't mind playing as the villain. You know, I knew he was going to get some blowback. I think, I don't know, maybe this is a trap play. Maybe I'm going to look too far into this, but I do think Wyndham should be a good play at this tournament. Especially after finishing 17 last week, and he was up to like 9th or 8th or something like that. So I don't have an issue there. I'm not going to talk about everybody, but yeah, you could start in the 9K range, and I think you'd be just fine. And I might actually do some lineups like that this week. So that's all I'm going to cover with the pass optimal GPP winning lineups. I went way overboard. I didn't mean to go that long. Suber is $6,400. There you go. Yeah, Jackson Suber seems like a good play this week also. This is like a golf course tailor-made for him too. I play NBA 2K, but I didn't get PGA Tour 2K this year because I was worried none of my friends would have it. That'll happen. That might change due to this game. Let's go. All right. Let's get into, I should have done a review earlier of the Travelers Championship. I'm going to do that right now. Bring this down. There. Okay. So, I'm going to go to the Travelers. I'm going to get into the bucket system after going through a review, because this is where we're going to start with the review of the Travelers Championship. I'm not going to go over who won the tournament. I'm not going to talk about a recap of it or anything like that. I'm just talking about sweet spot process. So when it comes to the Travelers Championship, I have a bucket system every single week, and the buckets for the Travelers was 34 out of 36 buckets correct. So I have 36 total buckets, 6 stack categories with 6 buckets in each of them. The 8K bucket failed because there were 3 8K golfers in the optimal lineup, and also who that finished inside the top 10. I was only projecting 1.18 to 1.96, and if you know how this all operates, we round down with the minimum, we round up with the maximum, and you want a 2-point buffer between them, and you always round down. Or you always put we always try to put the minimum down one before we bump up the maximum. So this would honestly count as a 0 to 2 bucket. 0 to 2, but 1.96 is really close to being over 2. And if I look at this entire stat line here, actually, let me zoom in for you guys. If I look at this entire stat line and I'm scrolling across, I like to look here. This is top 10 frequencies. We've had as low as 0 and as most as 4 from that bucket inside the top 10. If I scroll over here a little bit, under the optimal lineup, we've had as little as 0, and we've had as much as 3. If I were to actually open that up for top 5s, because there is, I have some fields hidden here. If I went to top 5s, it's also 0 to 3, which means I probably should have opened this up to be 0 to 3. I, in no way, shape, or form would have been comfortable playing 3. I'll admit that right now. I didn't even play 3 8K golfers. Personally, I just hate doing that. I hate playing the consistent lineup. Yes, or I shouldn't say consistent, but the conservative lineup. Yes, those lineups can win you money, but more often than not, they don't take down GPPs. In fact, if you were to go to past salary builds and you use these filters here and you just start, like even if you start this way, here, let me clear filters. And we start with an 8K golfer. Now, you remember the number, it said 1038. It's already been trimmed to 1026, or not 1026. It was 1020 or 1038. It's been reduced to 26 total lineups. And if I put another 8K golfer in there, so you were just starting in the 8K range. If I drill down on any one of these, actually, I don't even need to drill on any of them. I want to go to salary used. If we just take an overall look, I have 18 total lineups, 50,000 or not 50,000. Jeez. I'm looking at lineups that use close to $50,000 of the salary. The first lineup at the 2023 Worldwide Technology Championship, the GPP winner, had it there. The Arnold Palmer had it there in 2025. 50,000 started. It started out with 5 8K. That's literally peppering the 8K range, as Chad Eckert would say. In 2022, the Memorial Tournament, you left $200 on the table, and then from there, you literally drop down to 49,100, then to 48,900. So we're leaving $1,000 on the table, then $1,600 on the table, and then $3,000 on the table. This was the Travelers Championship right here. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that at all. And in fact, if I were to go ahead and if I clear out all the filters and just put in the Travelers and only look at 2025, and I'd really just want to, well, here are your three lineups right here. SweetSpot Optimal used $49,700 of the salary. And again, if you want to see how those points scored, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Put in Travelers. 2025. Here's how you can compare them. Just drill down on these on these buttons. So the GPP winning lineup scored $50,000 of the used $50,000 of salary. It scored 617.5. This is your $5 drive the green. The optimal lineup left $3,000 on the table, scored 644. So GPP scored 617, optimal scored 644. So it's a 27-point difference. The SweetSpot Optimal scored 628. Now, this isn't following the SweetSpot rules of last week. This is just the best lineup using $49,600 of the salary and above. You did need a 10K golfer in order to make this work out, and it went Rory McIlroy to 11,500, who tied Scotty, who actually scored 7 less points than Scotty Scheffler, and then went 11,500, 8,900, 8,500, 7,700, 7,000, and then $6,100 Austin Eckert, who started out blazing hot. He was tied for first round leader with Scotty Scheffler. That was your SweetSpot Optimal. So going back to this, would I have ever played 3 8K golfers? No, I would not have. I don't even care that this bucket failed. I just was never getting there. And and if you weren't getting there, I don't blame you. That's just, it's not my style. I'm never doing it. As for the other bucket that failed, it was this one right here, which was Course History 2. I was only projecting 2 to 4 to be inside the top 10. 6 were inside the top 10. And not only that, but 5 were in the optimal lineup. So right away, we were never hitting the optimal lineup using the SweetSpot process. And just to go along with the SweetSpot process, let's look at Marquee Tee Times, because we also will be going over that in this video. For the Rocket Classic, and it's basically your top 9 groups, and of your top 9 groups, only Keegan was in the optimal lineup. Now, Scotty Scheffler was in the lineup that follows the SweetSpot process, which I understand is very confusing. When I talk about the SweetSpot Optimal, when it comes to past optimal lineups, that has, again, that's using $49,600 of the salary and above, the best lineup. When I talk about here, I'm talking about what were the rules leading up into that week. And you would basically build a lineup that would have Scotty Scheffler, Harry Hall, and Keegan Bradley in it. Those 3 golfers from the Marquee Tee Times, top 9 groups. There you go. 3 groups right there. You don't want to play golfers in the same group together. I can't believe JJ Spawn came back and finished 14th. Is that true? He came back and shot a 71 in round 2? Is that real? That doesn't seem real. I saw he got to like +8. I gotta check this out. For whatever reason, I mean, I copy my data over from ESPN.com. Oh my God, he did. Holy crap. All right, JJ. Oh, he had a miserable beginning of his round 2. That's where I saw he was 8 over. And he went 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. He shot 3 under after starting out 4 over. That's how he shot one over. Okay, good for you, JJ. Holy moly. Little rusty to begin with, and then came back and shot 14, got to 14th. Anyways, I had to double check that. That just didn't seem right, and it was. good for JJ. That's insane. But yeah, Scotty Scheffler, Keegan, they were all in your sweet spot optimal. Same with Harry Hall. And the rule is you don't want to pair up golfers in the same group. And as you see on here, the green numbers indicate the sweet spot optimal. The blue numbers indicate the GPP winning lineup, and the little black tick marks indicate the optimal. We only had one optimal lineup golfer, but all the other golfers in all the other lineups, they weren't paired up together with anybody. Well, the only other person in their group. And yeah. So the Marquee Tee Times kind of worked out just well. Now, when it comes to the lineup that followed the sweet spot process, that scored 580.5 points. The GPP winning lineup scored 617. So it was 30 points behind the GPP winning lineup. And the one that followed the process, you would have had to have used Scotty Scheffler, Keegan Bradley, Harris English, Brian Harman, Harry Hall, and Lucas Glover. A 10, 8, 3 7s, and a 6. That used up $50,000 in the salary. Now, the interesting thing is, I played all those winner take alls. The $1, $1,000 winner take all, that lineup would have beaten the winning lineup there by, I think it was 20 points. The $500, they ran 2 $500 winner take alls. This lineup would have beat those by like 9 points, just barely. But it just goes to show that last week was just a weird, lineup building process that for those that, in the GPP, that's what this whole process is. I'm trying to take down a GPP. Obviously, following the sweet spot process last week, it was never going to happen because 3 8K golfers finished second place or better. That rarely happens. I'm not licking my wounds. I don't care. Things like this will happen. I will continue to follow the process. I will continue to play Scotty Scheffler. I got no issue. You certainly could have won a boatload of money playing Scotty Scheffler last week. So, but yeah, since Scotty didn't win, you're not winning a GPP. And not that he had to. If Jason Day were to win that event, and say Scotty didn't make a triple bogey and didn't make a double bogey, he probably would have been up there in second place, and he would have been in the optimal lineup. So, shoulda, woulda, coulda. I know how it goes. I understand. But yeah, altogether, the sweet spot process failed. That's essentially the conclusion of all this. It failed. You still could have won money, but yeah, I'm not gonna beat around the bush any longer. 34 to 36 buckets were correct. The Marquee Tee Times, for the most part, were correct. There's only one golfer in the optimal lineup there, so we could call that a fail actually. And then we couldn't build a lineup that would take down a GPP. So that's just how it goes. That's how it goes. Okay. That is going to cover a review of the Travelers. I'll check the chat before I get into the bucket system for, and I'm going to cruise through the bucket system. Like it's going to be 10 minutes or less. But I'm going to check out chat. What's going on, Philip Hall? Nice to see you, man. Yeah, you haven't been to a full stream in forever. All right. Liked on the chat. How many likes we at? 9? Only 9 likes? That's it? All right. Nobody wants free YouTube memberships. Just how it goes sometimes. All right. Let's go ahead and get into the bucket system for the Rocket Classic. So you can actually follow along with me on the cheat sheet. Again, to access the cheat sheet, you want to go to SweetSpotDFS.com. Go under Fantasy Tools, find cheat sheet. This is available for everybody. You got to be a free member, I suppose. And scroll down to cheat sheet and click here. That will open this up, and basically everything that I'm going to be covering, including the bucket system, you can find on the cheat sheet. So I will be going over the bucket system. Like I said, I'm going to do this really quick. I'm just going to give you the tools to then go to the cheat sheet, copy all or basically copy what I'm doing to find the golfers you want to find. Now, personally, like I mentioned in the review, I shouldn't say personally, but what I mentioned in the review is for the minimum projection, we always round down. For the maximum projection, we always round up. And you want a 2-point buffer between the two numbers. So this very first one, 0.86, that rounds down to 0, 1.44, that rounds up to 2. If for whatever reason you come across something like this bucket where it says 0.3 to 0.5, remember, we want a 2-point buffer. And since you can't go lower than 0, 0 is the lowest number, 2 will be your maximum always for this bucket. Now, where that wouldn't apply is a bucket like this, where there's only one golfer in that bucket. So last week 5s, golfers who missed the cut last week. Well, guess what? It was a signature event last week with no cuts. But there's one golfer that is in that bucket because he withdrew. That's called Siwoo Kim. This is Siwoo Kim right here. So this bucket will never be a 0 to 2. It'll be a 0 to 1 because there's only one golfer in it. What else can I show you that's a little bit odd and different? I will say what I did in the optimizer for the last year 6s. It says 2.96 to 4.93. Well, technically that's 2 to 5. But what I ended up doing is I made that 2 to 6. Because 4.93 is so darn close to being over 5 that why not open it up to 6? And why not bring it down to 2? So 2 to 6 is a very big gap, but I'm going to be a little bit more open with my numbers, a little bit more liberal with my numbers when it comes to how many golfers I select from that bucket. There's one more bucket I want to show you how you operate that one. I will say this one down here for the 7Ks, it does say 2.09 to 3.49. I changed that to a 1 to 4. So I'm changing that to a 1 to 4. I feel like there's one more that will be very confusing if I don't cover it. Maybe not. It's whenever it would be like a 1 point some. Oh, I guess I suppose I did cover it, didn't I? Or maybe I didn't. I don't think I did. Okay. This bucket right here, course history 2s. 1.13. That's your minimum. 1.88. That's your maximum. This bucket would be 0 to 2. Remember, we want a 2-point buffer between the minimum and the maximum. And if we can bump the minimum number down, we do that whenever we can. So 1 can get bumped down to 0. So that's a 0 to 2 bucket. And so too is this bucket right here. We covered this one, 0.86 to 1.44. The projection would be the same, although the minimum for the course history 2s tell us, hey, we should be more comfortable playing at least one golfer from here. I've been through this long enough that I know to bump it down to 0 to 2. So that is what we will do in those scenarios. And if you are like, oh man, this stuff is so confusing, I have no idea. Guess what? I built an optimizer that will allow you to build lineups following the SweetSpot process without even having to know any of that information. I provide all of the numbers right here. They're all included here. These are all of the bucket conditionals that go over everything I just said. So the short end of this, I'll cover this really quickly. Really, there aren't any golfers to target just based off of the numbers who finished or who played this tournament last year. That's the easiest way to say for this first stat. So if I filter out and we just look at last year, the easiest thing to say is there are no anchor buckets, no buckets that we want to pick at least one golfer from in the stat category. And the stat is which of these golfers played last year and what was their finishing position. Doesn't really matter what their finishing position was. However, we do have limitations on each of these buckets. And again, just go with what I said in the beginning of the segment. Do the minimums the way I said, do the maximums the way I said. And then it's 2 to 6 last year, sixes. Golfers who didn't play last year. So I think that's a wonderful projection. Colin Morikawa's in that bucket, by the way. I think that's fine. If we go into the next bucket, which is last week, golfers who played in the Travelers Championship. We don't have many. We have 33 total golfers from last week playing. And neither one of these buckets that played last week is an anchor bucket. Meaning, again, it's not telling us we want at least one golfer from this bucket. And honest, just like the last year bucket, none of them show over 2. We don't want to play more than 2 golfers from any of those buckets. For golfers who played last week at the Travelers Championship, that includes all finishing positions. 1st to 20th, 20th to 40th, 40th to 60th, so on and so forth. So that's what I would say with that. For course history buckets, now this is just how good is their course history at this golf course. If you want to take a look, if you go into the cheat sheet and you scroll over to course fit, you can see a column that's the header says CH. CH stands for course history. So does course history matter here? Well, I guess you can't see it from this perspective. It is a tool I should probably create for you guys. But just using this tool, you can see 1 to 3 have always been inside the top 10 for golfers who have good course history. Course history that's like 20th place or better. That's what good course history. That's what bucket 1 represents. Bucket 2 is 20 to 40th average finishing position at this event. It's another 0 to 2 bucket. There's no real confidence in playing these buckets. And you can see optimal lineup frequency and top 5 frequency. 0 to 1 for both of those buckets for optimal lineups, and 0 to 1 for top 5s. Not even 0 to 1 for course history 2s for top 5s. So it's not those 2 buckets aren't telltale buckets to actually choose golfers from. Course history 3. This is a 1 to 4 projection. 3.05 rounds up to 4, 1.83 rounds down to 1. We do have 7 more golfers in that bucket than we typically do, but we see at least 2 inside the top 10 every single year. I got no issue playing golfers from there. And then course history 4, 0 to 2 would be the projection. You haven't seen more than 1 inside the top 10, and you've never seen any in the optimal lineup or the top 5. Golfers who have a missed cut average at this event, we've seen at least 2, and as much as 4. But this projection is only 0 to 2, and that's largely largely because we only have 22 golfers in the field with that course history, where we normally see 34. So this seems to be a volume-driven bucket, and you can kind of tell that by this success percentage right here. 7.97 isn't super high, but it's not bad. I will say this, it's not bad. It's not as good as 16.67%. That's, almost 1 of 5 golfers that's ever had good course history ends up finishing inside the top 10 at this event. So that's another way to look at that. Recent form is going to be very similar to course history. Does recent form matter at this golf course? Well, yes and no. I mean, the success rate is off the charts for having good recent form, but it's a 50% frequency rate of having at least one of these golfers inside the optimal lineup or inside the top 5. I suppose it's not saying 50%, but of all golfers and from this bucket, only 17% of them finish inside the top 5. 20% finish inside the top 10. So, I mean, I don't know. It's up to you guys. At least 3 come within this middle recent form range. And normally we see 41 golfers in that bucket. We have 46 this week. So you probably going to find more golfers from that bucket. Finish inside the top 10. I'm not going to go over strokes gained buckets. I think I showed you guys how to use the bucket system fairly well. Now, how do you use that on the spreadsheet? Simple. Again, go to the cheat sheet. This is the cheat sheet available to you guys. I'm going to hide this column right here. And what you want to do is there's a filter up here at the top. It's hard to tell, I suppose. Here, let me bring this down. There's this pane up here. There's a ton of different icons up here. Find the one that looks like a calculator or a table. Drill down on that and find DraftKings. Okay, so when you're going through the bucket system, again, you can also do that with the bucket system. Drill down on that little calculator and go to bucket system. And then filter out by whatever you'd like to do. From here, basically you look at these columns. Column B, C, D, E, and F. And whatever stat that we just went over, drill down on that and use that to your advantage. So if you wanted to pick a golfer who was a last year one, clear out the filters and only select last year ones. And there you have it. Those are all the golfers who are a last year one. And then you just look at the golfers and do any of them pop off or pop up? Do any of them fancy your attention? Put it that way. If so, then yeah, anchor around those guys and just use the bucket system as a guide. So last year ones, play somewhere between 0 to 2 because that's what I'm projecting to be inside the top 10. You don't have to play up to 2 and you don't have to just stick to 2. You could play 3 if you wanted to. Now, when I say that, I want you to understand there's a high percentage that'll fail because we haven't really seen it. We haven't seen it yet at the Rocket Mortgage Classic. It's not to say it'll never happen, but I like to follow the numbers, and the numbers tell us that's not, it's very rare that something like that's going to happen. So I just pick up to 2 golfers. And again, it's on you. Who do you like? Who do you, and this is all about anchoring your lineups around some of these golfers. If you don't like anybody to anchor your lineups around from here, then move on to the next bucket. Simple as that. But that's how you read it, and that's how you use it. That's how you use the tool. Again, the optimizer does all this for us, so I'm not going to spend any more time on that. I did go over 10 minutes, but that's it for the bucket system. I'm not going to talk more about it. We have the first, let's do our first roll call. I'm going to copy these all over. Give me, just type SweetSpot in the chat. I put it out there for you guys. Just follow along with me. All right, those all went over to the monthly giveaway, and I will clear all of this out now. We are at the Rocket. I'm going to call it the Rocket Mortgage Classic. That's just the abbreviation that I've used for forever. What's going on, Byron? Tim Tulos, nice to see you in the chat. We're up to 13 likes. We just need 12 more. 12 more to get five memberships given away. All right, AJ, Lombardi, Back Nine, John, Wheels Up, Tim Tulos. There's Dave Dean coming in. I will let you guys go ahead and type it in if you are in the chat. If not, I'm moving on. We're going to move on. Like I said, we're going to be quick today. Be quick. We are going to go over the Marquee Tee Times. The logo thing is going to appear. Oh, it didn't. I turned it off. There we go. Okay. So If you want to follow along with me, again, the cheat sheet is available to you for you guys. Go to SweetSpotDFS.com, drill under fantasy tools, get to cheat sheet. That'll bring up this page right here. I'll open this up just to show you this is the cheat sheet. Put a filter on, just like I have, and basically follow along with me. Follow what I do. So I'm going to put a filter on mine, and I'm going to sort by group rank. For you guys on the cheat sheet, that is column O. For me, it's not. And I'm not going to tell you what column it is because I'm not going to confuse everybody. But these are the top 9 groups in the field. We're going to start building lineups here pretty soon. And basically what I want you guys to do is give me 2 to 4 golfers to build lineups around from the Marquee Tee Times. Now, if you don't want to follow these rules, that's fine. I prefer that you do because that's part of the whole practice. But you guys can do whatever you'd like to do. I'm going to go over the groups, and I'll give you my favorite golfer from each of these groups. First one's Patrick Cantlay, Collin Morikawa, and Keegan Bradley. I like Morikawa better than any of these golfers, but not by a lot. Patrick Cantlay is very close, and I'll be anchoring a lot of my lineups around either Morikawa or Cantlay. I'm going to do a shotgun approach this week where I'm basically playing everybody at least once in the different kind of combinations I can build them in. So I have no idea what my ownership is going to look like, but Cantlay, Morikawa, and Bradley are going to be similarly owned in my lineups. Bradley's probably going to be less. I'm probably going to cap Keegan Bradley ownership for me at like 14%. And I'll bump up Collin to, say, 40% and Cantlay to 40% as well. I don't know if we'll get there with building lineups with those guys, but with only 3 10K golfers, I'm still a firm believer in starting 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6. So I'll go that way. Maybe 70% of my lineups will start with a 10K golfer. So I'll have to figure out how the ownership's going to break down from there. And then from there, then it'll start with 9Ks, obviously. And maybe it'll be more than 70%, maybe 75% 10K golfers, something like that. But yeah, that's how I'd tier out group 1 for me. Group 2, Ben Griffin, Matsuyama, and Max Homa. It's Ben Griffin all day long. Sorry, the OBS disconnected and then reconnected somehow. No idea. Yeah, Ben Griffin would be my number 1. Matsuyama would be 2. And this actually is a pretty good golf course for Max Homa to figure things out. At $7,300, that's not a bad price tag. I don't mind it. He's not going to be an anchor golfer for me, but yeah, we could see some decent things for Max Homa this week. The next group is actually really interesting. Ricky Fowler, Matt Fitzpatrick, and Akshay Bhatia. I think this was actually group 1 before I made some of the adjustments. No, this would not have been group 1. This would have been group 2, I think. That's a pretty good group. Like, we haven't really seen much from Matt Fitzpatrick or Akshay Bhatia over the last who knows how long. But I got no issue. 0 issue playing Matt Fitzpatrick this week. And Akshay Bhatia has decent course history at this golf course. He finished 2nd here last year. Last year, Akshay was kind of on a tear. He was in the final group. I think he was actually leading the Travelers Championship last year before Scotty ended up winning it. Akshay was also in the running to win this tournament. So when he plays hot, or when he burns hot, that's when you should play him. I don't know if this is a course to... I don't know. Basically, in a way, I think I'm just going to play each of these guys. I'm going to do a cop out here. I like them all equally the same. 33% across the board. It's a bit of a cop out. They're all similarly priced. I don't really care for Ricky at $8,700, but could be worse, honestly. I think it's fine. The next group is a bunch of bombers. You get Wyndham Clark, Minwoo Lee, and Cam Davis. I Oh boy. You know what? I do like Wyndham Clark. I like Wyndham Clark. I like how he bounced back from the US Open and his little hissy fit that he threw there. We are playing a DFS game. I get we want to play our favorites, and I know we want to avoid the losers, like just because I can't stand Wyndham Clark. Just personality wise, I can't stand him. I can't stand watching him golf. I can't stand watching him mope around. I can't stand watching him get heated. He just looks like a bitch. Like I can't stand Wyndham Clark. But I like my bankroll. I like growing my bankroll. And some of that means you have to just you just got to forget the things you dislike about certain people. So I don't mind playing Wyndham Clark. I will say I do have a strategy as to building lineups with Wyndham Clark. I shouldn't even so much say building lineups. What lineups what contests I'm going to put Wyndham Clark in. They're not going to be my high price lineups. They'll just be in those little $50 winner take alls. I think that's a perfect place to put Wyndham Clark. Minwoo Lee, this isn't, as much as this is a bomber's paradise, this isn't a wide open bomber's paradise. I still think Minwoo Lee has issues with keeping the ball between the course markers, basically. What determines a hole. I don't mind playing Minwoo Lee. I'm just not anchoring any of my lineups around him. And then Cam Davis, I don't really care. I really don't care to play Cam Davis this week. I will, but he's not a priority to put in my lineups. Max Grazerman, Nikolai Højgaard, and Mark Hubbard. I really like Max Grazerman. I like the Højgaard brothers this week also. Rasmus is in the field. He's 8,300. Nikolai being 7,600 is not a terrible price tag for one of the Højgaard guys. Got no issue. No issue playing either Højgaards. And for this group, I think it's just in order of price tag. I'd much rather play Grazerman over Nikolai, and I'd much rather play Nikolai over Mark Hubbard. So that's how I feel about that. Siwoo Kim, Davis Thompson, and Chris Kirk. I actually like Davis Thompson more than the other two. Siwoo Kim, after a withdraw, $9,200. It seems disgusting. If you were to build lineups that only start in the 9K range, I don't mind him being the second or third 9K golfer in your lineup. So I don't mind going there. I don't know if I'll do that much. Yeah, I think that's fine. But Davis Thompson at $8,100 just seems like a really good price fit. And Chris Kirk has just been, I don't know, did Dumpy Bo somehow get into his spirit animal? Like, I don't know what the hell's going on with Chris Kirk. He's just been, you know what? He had a good showing at the US Open, right? If I recall. And it was like one of those things where I wasn't, yeah, he finished 12th at the US Open. And I even said during the US Open, those 6K golfers, you wanted a veteran guy that may not hit the ball super far, but we're going to see a veteran guy up there in the leaderboard. There you have it. But did he turn things around at the US Open? Does he have more confidence? He might, I guess. All right. That, yeah, man, I'm getting suckered in. That 12th place finish at the US Open, I do like seeing that. So I don't really like any of those golfers a ton. I don't mind playing them. They're going to be like second or third pieces in my lineups, basically, including Siwoo Kim. I do not feel comfortable making Siwoo my second golfer. I don't mind making him my third golfer, but I don't like making him my second golfer. Tom Small Hands Kim is $7,500 this week. He's in a group with Steven Yeager and Jake Knapp. I like Yeager, then I like Knapp, then I like Kim. I also don't mind playing Tom Kim this week. He's got to figure it out eventually. It's gonna happen. And what better week than this week? Man, I don't know. never mind. I don't like what I see. I don't like what I see. Course history's terrible. Last year finish is terrible. Last week finish wasn't super great. It was not inspiring. It was a no-cut event. Like, you could do better, Tom Kim. Whatever. Like I said, in my order, it's Jaeger, Knapp, and then Tom Kim. Next group, Cam Young, Gary Woodland, Austin Eckroat. I like them all equally. I probably like Austin Eckroat at his price tag better than any of the other two. I'd rather play Eckroat over Cam Young at $9,300. I don't even care if Cam Young is 7th in my model. I do like Eckroat more than I like Cam Young. And the last group, Taylor Moore, Matt Wallace, and Carl Phillips. I'd like Taylor Moore, and I don't know why. It's not like his performances over the last 7 weeks are all that impressive. $7,600. Very good course history. Finished 10th here last year. He does have a top 20 at the PGA. The Charles Schwab Challenge, 73rd, and he missed the cut in Canada. Maybe not. Maybe I don't really care for Taylor Moore that much. But 6.67. So did he play twice? And he has a 10th place finish and what, like a 4th place finish? Is that how that works? Well, yes, but he also has a 6th place finish in there too. Wow, 3 top 10s in a row. Well, if you're one of those that believes that everything comes back to the mean, we know that's not sustainable, right? Taylor Moore, yeah. I mean, I'll throw some lineups with him in there, but I am not rushing to play Taylor Moore. Seeing that course history, to me, that's fool's gold. I'll still play him, but it's not an anchor. It's not a reason to anchor your lineups around Taylor Moore, in my opinion. Matt Wallace seems okay, and Carl Phillips is just going to be a talent. So, all right, guys, let's go over. Give me 2 to 4 golfers you want me to build your lineups around that are a part of the Marquee Tee Times. Actually, if you need to, pause the video and then hit live. Remember, the live button is down there to the left. Hit that live button. Make sure you're caught up after you hit pause if you need to. And just take a look at all the golfers here. Or go to the cheat sheet and put the filters on that to find the golfers to build lineups around. So yeah, 2 to 4 golfers that you want to anchor your lineups around. I am going to only build you 5 lineups this week. So I'm going to build you up to 5. I'm not going to put a timer on. We can go ahead and talk it through, I guess. We're putting a timer on. Actually, we're going to be very strict and stick to 3 minutes at most, but 5 lineups each. I'm gonna actually check up with chat. I just freaked out. I thought I went deaf. Do you assign the rankings to the groups? Oh, are you were you talking about my OBS disconnecting? Is that what you guys were saying? I thought I went deaf too. I imagine that's what happened, right? I do see my sound bar or my audio settings, the little meter. I always have that in front of me just to make sure that I can see that the mic works. Anyways. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay. I do need to add 1 person to the giveaway, I think, right? Philip, you came in late, or you came in a little bit late? Okay. All righty. So like I said, I am going to build 5 lineups for everybody. Still gonna do the 3-minute timer, but we're not gonna be on here super late. Probably another 30 minutes at most. Okay. You drinking that old Minnesota moonshine out of that bottle? It was a concoction. But you'll never know. Suber, Grazerman, and Matt McCarty. Okay. I should update my optimizer to just actually plug in the names at the top, and then it just automatically locks these guys in. I should do that. That'd make it so much easier. Suber, Razorman, and McCarty. I have no idea where McCarty is. Is he in the 7K range? 8K range? $7K flat. Okay. Well, I'm also going to bump him up. Okay. Timer is on the screen, and like I said, we're building 5 lineups. I'll go slow so we can figure out which golfers we like and which ones we don't. I'm gonna do something different. I'm only doing 100% from 8K and above. Here we go. First lineup is Keegan Bradley, Harry Hall, Max Grazerman, Taylor Moore, Matt McCarty, and Jackson Suber. I actually like that lineup. That's pretty solid. Next lineup is Patrick Cantlay, Cam Young, Max Grazerman, Ryan Gerard, Matt McCarty, and Jackson Suber. I like that lineup too, man. That one's solid. Ryan Gerard. Next one is Colin Morikawa, Hideki Matsuyama, Max Grazerman, Matt McCarty, Matt Kuchar, Jackson Suber. Matt Kuchar. You know what? I don't hate it. 2 6Ks, a 10, 2 9s, a 7, and 2 6s. How do you feel about this one? I don't know. I don't know, man. By the way, all the Poppy fans out there, trying out the watermelon. Ooh, if you like watermelon, I love it. So good. Yuck, he says. Okay. No Matt Kuchar. Next lineup is Cantlay, Matsuyama, Grazerman, Hoey, McCarty, and Suber. Seems like that one's got some decent upside to it. I don't hate it. Hold your nose. Hate when the optimizer does that, by the way, but you can scroll down and scroll up and it'll make it disappear. How do you feel about Morikawa, Matsuyama, Grazerman, McCarty, Rosner, and Suber? How do you feel about this one? Love that. Okay. Last one is Morikawa, Matsuyama, Grazerman, McCarty, Fishburne, and Suber. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't mind Patrick Fishburne in general. In case you don't like that lineup, I'll build one more. And that will conclude our time. Bo Hauser. There's Dumpy Bo. There you go. That was your consolation lineup. Dumpy Bo. Remember, you can replace that with Fishburne if you wanted to. All right, time to make some updates. I'd play Ben over Decky. Bo is in the field? I know, man. No idea. No idea he was. Been having such strong fields. I gotta get used to seeing some of these names I haven't seen in a while. You want to? Okay. The most optimal lineup had this guy in it. If you guys remember, the assassin is here, and I'm not shy. No, I'm not shying away from playing the assassin. All right, AJ Love, you are up next. You want Ben Griffin and Cam Young. Are you ready? Don't show me that shit, man. I don't care. I'm gonna play a sound. Hopefully it doesn't. Okay. It's not really the one I'm looking for, but that works. That might make some ears bleed. I'll figure that one out later. Ready? Okay. Timer is on the screen. Ben Griffin, Cam Young, Min Woo Lee, Byung-Hun An, Victor Perez, and the Assassin. There he is. The Assassin. Ryo Satsune. Next lineup is Griffin, Cam Young, Wyndham Clark, Steven Yeager, Kit Ayama, and Matt Kuchar. Ew, but we're doing it. Korn was the loudest band I ever saw in concert. There you go. Morikawa, Griffin, Cam Young, EVR, Danny Willett, Justin Lauer. I like this lineup. I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of the 10-9-9 start. We've been building those lineups all night pretty much so far. But Danny Willett at this golf course, sign me up. Sign me up. I want... Byron, you're in the chat. Is there any like correlation between this golf course and the Fortinet? Because just from my eyeballs, from what I remember of the two golf courses, they seem similar. Just same bends and grass types and stuff like that. We did save that one, right? No, we did not. All right, I'm saving it. I like it. Ben Griffin, Cam Young, Minwoo Lee, Ryan Gerard, Emiliano Grillo, and Fishburne. Grillo, another one that I like at this golf course. And again, reminds me of Fortinet, the Silverado Country Club. I think it's fantastic. I'm going to save this one, man. I'm kind of not letting you choose, kind of overriding the system. Cantlay, Ben Griffin, Cam Young, The Assassin, Joe Highsmith, and Jeremy Paul. Jeremy's falling, yeah, yeah. That's an interesting comp. So my eyeballs are telling my brain. All right, Cantlay, Griffin, Young, Hisatsune. You know what I don't like about this lineup is Joe Highsmith. And honestly, Joe Highsmith is probably going to be just fine. But I'm going to kick him out. And I'm going to bring back Pearl Jam. Mouse Rat. All right. Griffin, Young, Clark, Taylor Moore, Whaley, and Castillo. Sign me up. Castillo is in my dummy lineup. Again, my dummy lineups are used with my eyeballs, just like my course comps. Don't know if they're true, but they feel right. All right, AJ. I got 0 interaction from you. You must have been just doing the don't want to get involved because I want magic to happen type of strategy, which is totally fine. Nathan Johnson. Are you ready, sir? Griffin, Young, and Norin. Griffin? Oh, I should have just kept them. I didn't even see. Young and Alex Norin. I like that. I like Alex Norin this week. Sign me up. Hell yeah. I sang Pearl Jam for 50 minutes my last show. I think people thought I was crazy. I was in a zone. All right, man. Let's do it. Let's duet. Here we go. If you want interaction, just tell me to kick people out or bring people back or things of the nature. I'm just going with the flow. Griffin, Young, Maddie Fitzpatrick, Alex Norin, Kit Ayama, and the Assassin. This seems like a really reasonable lineup. I like this lineup a lot. It might be my favorite lineup of the night so far was that one. Griffin, Young, Wyndham Clark, Norin, Perez, and Castillo, which is now replaced with this lineup. I like this lineup the most. Ben Griffin, Cam Young, Wyndham Clark, Norin, Nikolai Højgaard, and Steven Fiscal. What was your nickname, Byron? The Fiscal Review? Steven Fiscal. Or in Norwegian, Fisk is fish. Did you know that? Fisk is fish. So Steven Fish. We're going with Steven Fish. Griffin, Young, Mitchell, Norin, Seamus Power, Antoine Rosner. I actually like this because Power hasn't played in forever. And, well, actually, let me take that back. I'm not 100% positive on that. Power. Yeah, he withdrew at the Canadian Open. So he's had a couple weeks to rest his back. I bet you it was his back that he withdrew for, right? I'm okay with it. Be careful, though. He's got a tender back. Oh, fiscal policy. Gotcha. I like this lineup a lot. Griffin, Cam Young, Wyndham Clark, Norin, Hoey, and Phillips. I'm gonna create you a consolation lineup because that might be too much. That's too much Wyndham Clark, I think. I'm gonna bring back Maddie Fitzpatrick. And you get a very balanced build this way. Two 9s and 4 7s. You get Griffin, Cam Young, Gerard, Norin, Taylor Moore, and Kitayama. Don't hate it. Don't love it. I'm going to do one more out of curiosity. Kick Clark. Clark was kicked. And I like this lineup a little bit better. I'm going to kick out Højgaard and kick out... Or I'm going to bring back Højgaard and kick out Gerard. Gerard's a model darling. He's going to be selected quite a bit. Yeah, and this lineup is fine. You get Griffin Young, Minwoo Lee, Noren Grillo, and Isaiah Salinda. Listen, Isaiah Salinda. All right, man. Moving on. Philip Hall, are you here, sir? Philip. Hey, AJ does perform at old people's homes. You watch who you're talking to. Red Eye. Okay. Red Eye. Dude, I was listening to Tom Hanks talk about you know what? Did you just voice chat that? Did whatever the speech to text just are you speech to texting right now? Philip, if you're speech to texting, I'm gonna start calling you Forrest Gump from now on. Red Eye. Red Eye. Oh, Griffin, Fitzpatrick, and Yeager. I was listening to the Graham Norton show. Well, I wasn't listening to Graham Norton show. It was a clip on YouTube of Tom Hanks, how he got the voice of Forrest Gump. And he sat down with the little actor that played him as, you know, his younger self. And he was just talking about, it's like, so what does your dad do? My dad makes grease. And he's like, he always had this hard G or whatever. He's like, oh yeah, what can you make with grease? Or like, I didn't know you can make grease. He goes, oh yeah, you can make anything with grease. Oh my god, it's hilarious. LOL, no. Okay, you saved yourself. You can make lipsticks. You can make soap. All right, Griffin, Fitzpatrick, Yeager. Byron, Pat Mayo had someone ask him how he felt about Matty Fitzpatrick last week. I think it was last week or it was the week before. And Pat Mayo goes, what are we, 3? Matty Fitzpatrick, I'm not even going to answer that question. It's like, dude, you come up with some of the dumbest nicknames and we're supposed to give you a reprieve? Unbelievable. That was funny. Matty Fitzpatrick. That's what I'm going with. Forever. Okie doke. Timer is on the screen. Oh, I know. I know he does. All right, Philip. Ben Griffin, Max Grazerman, Matt Fitzpatrick, Steven Yeager, Kitayama, and Grillo. That's a solid lineup. 998, 37s. No issue there. Next lineup is Griffin, Mitchell, Fitzpatrick, Gerard, Yeager, and EVR. I'm gonna kick out Gerard. That's just so much Gerard. That's a good lineup though. I do like this lineup quite a bit. It's like a battle tested lineup. They're all pretty good scramblers and pretty good grinded out golfers. Not saying that's what we need this week, but feel pretty safe with that lineup. Morikawa, Griffin, Fitzpatrick, Yeager, the Mustache Man, Chandler Phillips, and Benjamin Silverman. I don't know about Silverman. I'm not positive how I feel about this guy. I'm going to hit Run Optimizer. I'm not going to save this one, but it's not terrible. I like the kick, though. Okay. Griffin, Grazerman, Fitzpatrick, Rasmus Højgaard, Steven. Yeah, this is a much better Mustache Man lineup. Love it. Griffin, Grazerman, Fitzpatrick, Yeager, Jesper Svensson, and Michael Thorbjornsson. This is a great course for Michael Thorbjornsson. I think, what was it, 2 years ago he debuted at this golf course and was in the top 10 for a little while. This lineup is fantastic. You know what? This deserves one of these. You get one of these for this lineup. Yep. That lineup is great. All right, one more. We're the music. We're not going to do another Seamus lineup, but if you wanted one, there's a Seamus lineup. Ooh, sign me up for this lineup. All right. Hey, we're already here. We're going to do it again. Oh, yeah. This is a really good GPP lineup. Siwoo Kim, he could withdraw. Or he could finish first. Nico Echeverria could miss the cut by 18 shots, or he could shoot 18 under. I like this lineup altogether. This is a fantastic lineup. That's what I would call like an optimal GPP lineup. For sure. AJ, that's awesome, man. Congrats. All right, moving on. Moving on up. Lombardi Lee. Lombardi, are you here, sir? Alex Smalley, Keith Mitchell, and Harry Hall. I'm gonna make some updates first, just to remind myself. Hey Byron, when are we going golf, buddy? I've got this weekend off and I got next weekend off. And then my July is packed and part of my August is packed. Like every weekend in July except for the 4th of July. I'm golfing in a tournament, and beginning of August I'm golfing in it. Actually, most of August I'm golfing in tournaments. So let me know, man. Let me know. You are here. Okay, I need Smalley. We gotta give him a little bit of a boost. Keith Mitchell. All right. Nobody has selected Keith yet. And Ariel. That's a dumb Mayo nickname. Ariel. Okay, pal. Alrighty. Timer coming on the screen. Here we go. First lineup is Harry Hall, Cam Young, Keith Mitchell, Smalley, Max Homa, Seamus Power. Here's what I would never do. I could never put Homa and Power together. Straight up, period. I can't put both of those golfers together. Where is Power? We have enough Seamus Power in these lineups. But I mean, there's a lineup for you if you wanted one. Here we go. Harry Hall, Cam Young, Keith Mitchell, Alex Smalley, Max Homa, and Ricky Castillo. There you go. It's Max Homa lineup right there. Harry Hall, Siwoo Kim, Keith Mitchell, Alex Smalley, Taylor Moore, and Danny the Daywalker. Okay. Harry Hall, Siwoo Kim, Keith Mitchell, Alex Smalley, Taylor Moore, and Chris. Hey, I didn't even see Chris Ventura was in the field. Now that I see this, I wouldn't mind anchoring my lineups around Chris Ventura. I think this is a perfect golf course for Chris Ventura. Matsuyama, Hall, Mitchell, Smalley, EVR, and Austin Eckroat. Another really good lineup. Matsuyama, Hall, Mitchell, Smalley, Jake Knapp, and Trey Mullinax. All right. I want to save this. I suppose I still can because that's the first Jake Knapp lineup. We're not going to miss out on anything. Yeah, that's fine. Maybe I'll get one more Jake Knapp lineup here. But I like the fact Jake Knapp just showed up. Not going to do Takumi Kanaya. Could not care less. William Mao, though. Hey, I don't mind William Mao's game. Cantlay, Hall, Mitchell, Smalley, Hubbard, and Mao. That's fine. Let's see one more. Uno Mas. There's Aldrich Pot Heater. Harry Hall, Siwoo Kim, Mitchell, Smalley, Cam Davis, and Aldrich. There you go. I'm actually going to replace the Daywalker lineup with this lineup. So I like it more. And get rid of that other one. Okay. Moving on. That was Lombardi. Whoa. It moved on me. Hold on. I lost my chat. I lost it. Tim Tulos is next. Tim, are you in the chat? Okay, Morikawa, Griffin, Eckroat. I like it, dude. Morikawa, Bean, Griffin, and the Eck Goat. Tim is here. All right. Timer is on the screen, and we go. We get Morikawa, Ben Griffin, Taylor Moore, Kitayama, the Assassin, Rio, and Austin Eckroat. Yep, sign me up. Like that lineup. Next lineup is Morikawa, Griffin, Højgaard, Perez, another Assassin lineup, and Austin Eckroat. Okay. Works for me. Lombardi, you are welcome. Colin Morikawa, Ben Griffin, Ryan Gerard, Patrick Rogers, Seamus Power, and Austin Eckroat. Nah, too many losers in that lineup. Morikawa, Griffin, Gerard, Rogers, Echeverria, and Eckroat. Sure, I'll do that one. Morikawa, Griffin, Batia, EVR, Eckroat, and Rosner. 10, 9, 8, and 3 7s? Sure, why not? And then we get Morikawa, Griffin, Gerard, Taylor Moore, Austin Eckroat, and Mac Meisner. Yeah, I can do that lineup too. That's a pretty solid lineup. I like these. Those were good. And in a consolation lineup for you. a better lineup yet. Morikawa, Griffin, Batia, Rogers, Eckroat, and Norlander. Sign me up. Which one do I want this to replace? Probably this one, honestly. I got rid of the two 7Ks. Who is that? The one with Eckroat and Rosner in it. Yeah, that one was solid. I like that. Coo. We're cruising. And John Bizzle, you are up next. You want Nico, as in Nico Echeverria, I imagine. Jaeger and Aldrich Potgieter. Oh, Nico Højgaard. Gotcha. See, Nico Echeverria is known as Nico. Gotta be careful with those things. All right, so it's Jaeger, Højgaard, and Aldrich. Okay. Timer is on the screen. Here we go. First lineup we get Morikawa, Harry Hall, Steven Jaeger, Nikolai Højgaard, Rico Hoey, and Aldrich Potgieter. Like it. Solid. There you go, Philip. Morikawa, Matsuyama, Jaeger, Højgaard, Hisasune, and Aldrich Potgieter. Yeah, absolutely, dude. These are good lineups, man. Cantlay, Keith Mitchell, Ricky Fowler, Højgaard, Jaeger, Potgieter. Love it. Pretty good combo of players here. Cantlay, Harry Hall, Alex Smalley, Jaeger, Højgaard, and Potgieter. All right, man. These lineups are working so well. They're just cruising. Then we get to Matt Kuchar. Morikawa, Griffin, Jaeger, Højgaard, Potgieter, and Kuchar. I'm going to run it again. I don't really care to see Matt Kuchar. And this one's fine. Harry Hall, Cam Young, Wyndham Clark, Jaeger, Højgaard, Potgieter. And a consolation one. Cantlay, Griffin, Jaeger, Højgaard, Perez, Potgieter. Yeah. Actually, I like this one probably the most. For sure. Yeah, I like that one the most. Which one do I take out? Probably this one. Nah. I'm gonna do this one. Solid lineups, everybody. Solid. And we're at the 2-hour mark, so let me just go ahead and fix these. I'll stay on to answer last questions that people have, but I think we are done building lineups for tonight. Like I said, I want these kind of in-between tournaments to be short. In fact, how about this? Last chance for roll call. Roll call number 2. Give me your winner this week. Put in the chat who your winner is, and that will be roll call number 2. And then we're going to sign off. Leave any questions in the chat that you need. What's up, Trey? Philip with Fitzpatrick. I like this. Trey getting in. Trey getting in the giveaway last second. I love it. By the way, just a reminder, you guys, after this goes live, just go in the comments. You just hit let's hit the sweet spot, and you'll get 2 entries into the giveaway. Super simple, super easy. That sounds like a good idea, but yeah, it's watermelon poppy. Lombardi Lee thinks that Harry Hall's gonna win this, huh? John Bizzle with Hot Geeter. Maybe. Okay. I think that's all. So, tomorrow night, I'll go live. I will be going live at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time for YouTube members only. If you're not a YouTube member, well, either hit the like button and try to get the likes up to 25. If we get to 25 likes, then I will give away YouTube memberships for free, 5 of them. They're just given out randomly. Or hit the little join button that's down here somewhere. Click the join button, $4.99 a month. Hit the white tier and above, and then that way you get access to tomorrow's video, because it's only going to members only. Outside of that, we're gonna call it a night. So thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next one. All right, bye.